Welcome to Cultivating Courage, a podcast exploring fear, courage, and stepping into a life filled with purpose, connection, and love. This week, Matt, Jason, and I take a deep dive into self-love. Why is it so hard? What does it even look like? And how does self-love change everything? Welcome back to another episode of Cultivating Courage. I'm your host, Kristin Robinson. I'm the founder of Thrive Coaching Studio, and we help women explore their fears and step into their greatness. Today, I am joined, as always, by my co-host, Matt Maxwell. Welcome.
Hi, I'm Matt. I'm a coach. I'm a public speaker. I wanted to be a marine biologist when I was little.
So I love that almost every intro, Matt gives us a little random tidbit about himself.
Yep.
It's like I'm getting to know him just a little bit more every time we record.
Yep.
And I like it.
Thanks.
Volleyball, marine biologist.
Yeah.
I like it. All right. We are also joined today by one of my good friends, Jason Zdebski. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Jason is the owner of Shaker's Bar here in Chicago on Clark Street.
Yeah,
That's how I'm going to...
Yes, I am.
Yeah, congratulations. I don't know. Whatever.
Come on by anytime you want.
There you go. All right.
I did not want to be a marine biologist when I was younger.
What did you want to be when you were little?
A ballerina.
A ballerina?
Oh, I love that. It's not too late.
Oh, it is too
for
late.
either of us.
I can barely walk in a straight line. Trying to yeah.
Oh, sitting ballet.
Yeah.
People do that.
Sitting ballet.
Yeah.
Is that like laughing yoga?
Yes. Google it.
Yeah.
Something probably would show
I
up.
bet there probably would be.
Yes.
All right. So this episode, we are going to talk about self-love. And in full disclosure, when we were getting ready to record, I wasn't like in my usual happy place of like, podcast day, like I'm so excited. But we just had a really great conversation with Jason, and Matt was there as well, of course, about kind of self-love and how that is the center of everything and how much that can change things. And now I'm super stoked to be recording. Mm-hmm. So that's where I'm at. And the conversation we had, I think, brought up a lot of stuff for all of us. So I'm excited to kind of explore that.
Cool. What were your big takeaways?
I think for me right now, just giving myself a break. You know, we were talking earlier that I have so much going on between my 9 to 5 and then the podcast and my business and everything that I want to create. And I'm so excited about all of those things. But sometimes I just feel so overwhelmed and like I'm not doing enough and I should be doing more and like sleep less, do more. And just like giving myself a break. Yeah. Like I'm doing fine, you know? Yeah. Like that was a big takeaway for me on that is just love yourself, like give yourself a break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
How about you?
For me, it was an awesome reminder of how powerfully important unconditional self-love is. Mm-hmm. And also just in terms of what's going on in my life, I am just going through a breakup.
Right.
And it's just been really interesting to watch my process in this particular breakup versus a breakup that I had like 2.5 years ago. Mm-hmm. And I'm still similarly grieving the relationship and grieving that this person won't be in my life as she used to be.
Of course, yeah.
And the difference for me and what I'm able to experience in this is so profoundly different. And it's because in my process coming out of my last breakup ended up in like a massive transformation in how I'm able to love myself. And so I was just considering during our conversation, as you were talking about, Jason, just like in the morning getting up and starting to say the things that you want to hear. After this big breakup, I read like 7 different books. You know, it was like a few months of like, I have to find some way to feel better because it was so devastating to me, and for a bunch of reasons.
The one 2.5 years ago.
The one 2.5 years ago. Yeah. I was just like in this dark place, and I read this book that was called You Can Heal Your Heart, which is like Louise Hay's.
Oh, yeah.
She has like You Can Heal Your Life, and this one's kind of more about death and breakups, like how to heal when
white cover, pink heart on the. Do you know? I feel like I maybe have read
I read
that.
almost everything on Kindle, so I don't know what the covers look like. It's more just kind of like electronics thing.
Yeah. All right.
The
fine.
cover looked like. So this book said something, introduced like affirmations, and it introduced this affirmation of I love myself no matter what. And I remember I heard it in the book and just started sobbing because I was like, I don't. Like I was fully bought in on like every story Self-Hate was telling me about how I wasn't good enough and how I'd messed everything up and how, it was really hard for me to be with the resentment from this other person and all this stuff. And so something about it just really struck me, and I was like, okay, I'm going to start. And so in the morning I'd get up and look in the mirror and say, I love myself no matter what. And it just sounded so stupid, but I would say it like while I was in the shower, and I just kind of kept saying it. And for a while it was like, okay, I feel a little bit better, but like there was so much pushback that was just like, no, you don't. You're such a screw up, or whatever. And I just kept persisting at it, and I started having these breakthroughs in self-love. And it's really cool for me now to reflect on that, because my experience of this breakup is completely different. And I mean, in some ways it's similar in that I really am sad about the relationship ending.
Of course. Yeah.
But my ability to be with myself in that and just like absolutely love him through it.
Yeah.
I don't care. I love you. And when the voice, when the kind of thoughts of, oh my gosh, why did I, whatever. I don't care. I love you.
Right.
Like it's right there. And it's like, it's amazing for me to consider, because if there's anything that I feel like I know in the world,
right,
it's that I love myself no matter what.
Yep.
And it's really become true, where when I first started saying it, it felt like total BS. It's become true for me.
Yeah.
And it's just really, it's been cool for me to reflect on that in the current experience I'm having.
Yeah. I think that's really powerful. And I think we all kind of, I don't know, I personally look at it not so much as a breakup, but from a relationship perspective, I'm in such a different place when I meet people now. Like same sort of thing. Like I've really put a lot of work into being comfortable in who I am and owning who I am and loving who I am. And now I enter into relationships in a completely different way. I haven't been in in a relationship that required breakup really since I've done all of this work. So I don't know how the back end might work, but the front end, it looks completely different for me now. Like I'm just, the things that used to bother me or the things that used to matter to me are different now, which is, I don't know. And it feels good.
Yeah, feels good.
I mean, that's the thing I think with self-love that's so amazing is once you have that breakthrough, you don't go back. Yeah. Like you might struggle sometimes with things, but you don't go back. And then like what it feels like and how amazing it is to come at life from that place. That's what you seek then. And that's what you support within yourself, because you know how different life is when you come at it from there. Yeah.
What's coming up for you?
For me, I think the thing is like I went into this thinking how to like make my relationship better or find a partner, but I think it'll be interesting to see when I really do love myself, how every aspect of my life changes, not just trying to find a partner, but my relationships with my friends, my family, how I feel about myself. I think when you get to a point where you truly love yourself, it changes not every part of your life and how you view your life. And I think I feel like it's going to be a positive change.
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting to see how all that, because I came here for one reason, but thinking about it further after we talked about it, I thought to myself, it's going to change everything.
Yeah.
What else do you see being possible through the practice of self-love?
I think how I feel about myself in general, how I think with my relationships with my family, like not it'd be interesting to see like some of the bad habits I have or things that I do to retreat, like maybe drinking. You retreat to certain things to make yourself feel numb, you know, because you don't feel good about yourself. Yeah. And I wonder, and if not that I'm, you know, I wonder if those times that I go to alcohol to feel. Oh, just not to think.
Yeah.
Maybe I won't do that as much anymore. Mm-hmm. Maybe I won't. You know, I won't retreat to those kind of bad habits because they make it easy to forget that I don't feel loved.
Right.
So.
Wow, that's really cool.
I mean, I think we'll see.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah, and I love how you said, like, I see this opening up possibility. Well, this isn't what you said. This is what I heard through my like coach brain filter. So you suggested something like, not only will this be powerful for me in my like romantic partnership world, but potentially everywhere. Mm-hmm. And I think, you know, a lot of the podcast is about, you know, cultivating courage, right?
Yeah.
Creating the capacity to push through our fear and create the life we really want. Or just experience life the way we want to, or whatever it is. And the cool thing about, so here's what'll happen. Well, I want to start a new business. Why don't you? Well, what if it went bad? Well, what if it went bad? I would, I maybe would have to declare personal bankruptcy. Okay. So why would that be bad? Well, ultimately, what people usually get to is something like, I'd really hate myself for what I did. I'd regret it. It would be the wrong decision. And then I would have to suffer through all the regret of having done that thing. And basically, one way to look at regret is like hating yourself for something that's happened.
Right.
Right. And holding it as if you made a bad decision. And that means something about you.
Right.
That you're unworthy, incapable, whatever.
Yeah.
So what's amazing about realizing that I could love myself no matter what is those things no longer seem so scary, right? And it's kind of like in a relationship or in a new career venture or anything we're up to where there's fear, we don't know how it'll go.
Yeah.
We just don't. And there's an awesome, there's a view of life which is I'm responsible for everything and the creator of everything.
Right.
That can be super empowering to just be like, I'm responsible for it all.
Yeah.
There's also a view of life that I think can also be powerful, which is life goes how it goes. I'm playing the game, you know.
Yeah.
I'm rafting down this river, but like the river's going where it's going. Okay. What's cool about like really developing self-love is you start to see that, okay, this person may not respond to me in the relationship the way I really want them to, you know, and I'm like in that right now.
Right.
Or this particular career venture may not go the way that I really envisioned. Life does what it does.
Yeah.
And at the same time, there is something that I have 100% control over. I can always decide how this goes, and that is how I hold myself.
Right.
In whatever happens.
Yep.
That is in my power. So, relationship doesn't go well. That does seem scary. It hurts a little bit. But I have the power to say, I love you. There's nothing wrong. I'm proud of you. You know, I'm practicing celebration and acknowledgement for how I was in the relationship, you know?
Yeah.
And so I get to choose how I hold myself. It doesn't take away all the pain, but it makes a huge amount of difference.
And it's interesting because for me, the bar has become such a big part of my life that there's always these times where I'm like, well, what if it didn't? What if it ended? And for a while and a long time, and I think this will help with me loving myself more, is if it ends, it would be horrible. I would be sad, but I have to love myself and move on.
Right.
It's not the only thing I have in my life. I don't want it to go away, but if it did, for a long time, it was like, oh, if I lose this, I'm losing everything. What am I going to do? I'm going to get up the next morning and move on, you know? And I think when I become better with how I feel about myself, I'm getting to that place with the bar slowly, but I think I'll be 100% where if it ever does end, it's okay. And you have to move on. And I think, you know, what we discussed previously will help me with that.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, there's a big component of that is not having the outcome mean anything about you.
Yeah.
You know, like I struggle with that. Like, oh, well, if it ends this way, whatever it is, then what does that say about me?
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't say anything about me. Because I know who I am and, you know, I love myself no matter what. But it's like that for me is like a big struggle in the self-love kind of world is not having a certain outcome mean something about who I am.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's a place where just like a little bit of skepticism, it's like loving skepticism, you know, about whatever the voice is making me, right? Our brain's like, you know, why does it seem so scary to be in a relationship? Because what if they don't like me? And that would mean I am X, Y, and Z.
Right.
Unlovable, ugly.
Right. Unworthy,
whatever.
Dumb.
Boring.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yep.
Right. Too good looking. No,
I have that problem.
Well, the thing is,
obviously,
is that the brain doesn't do that. It seems like
No.
we got to really train it to do that. You know, oh, you know what? I just must be too smart and intelligent and good looking and worthwhile for that person.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't tend to do that.
Some people, but
For some
not-
people.
Some people,
Yeah.
and we can
But-
work on that kind of
Yeah.
a viewpoint.
And I feel like those people probably that might be just a cover for something,
Right, yeah.
right?
Exactly.
Like-
Are they actually thinking that?
right.
But it's like just a little bit of healthy skepticism, right? About what we're making it mean, because we're going to make it mean something.
Yes.
Unless we're like Buddha, which we might all actually be Buddha. Not to get too spiritual. But like just a little bit of healthy skepticism. Like, is that actually so? Right?
Yeah.
My brain starts to go, oh gosh, and I just, right? Well, is that actually so?
Right. Is that true?
Just like a little bit of
Like, yeah.
like loving skepticism
Yeah.
about what that mental chatter is saying.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I think like for someone new who might be beginning this, I think you have to go into knowing that there's going to be those times you're still going to have little doubts.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh,
it's not like you get up every morning. You know, you're gonna have those struggles.
Yeah.
It's how to focus yourself back. Because for someone who's new to this, or someone who might be watching who's new to this, you can't give up because you may have one bad day or one bad moment. It's
Yeah.
just making sure you go back because it's you're gonna have.
For sure. And like I'm not going to put words in your mouth, but like I still don't have it all figured out by any means, and I still have days where I don't love myself very much.
Yeah.
You know, and I have to remind myself,
Right.
you know, I think it's a ever existing thing that we have to do.
Yeah. 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 And it's, and one way I look at it too is some of the process can be, you know, getting present to what the mental chatter is, the inner critic, the voices of self-hate, however we want to describe it. Right. And just starting to get distance from it. Those mental processes are pretty deeply ingrained for most of us.
Yeah.
We've been thinking those thoughts since we started thinking,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, and we think that our thoughts are us,
Yeah.
which is like,
And so it must be true
Bigger
because
thing.
it's being thought
Right.
by me.
right.
Right.
Yeah.
And this is crazy, but we're so hooked on being right that we'll try to prove how bad we are because they're thoughts that we're bad.
Right. Well, I think it's ingrained. There are a lot of things that throughout your childhood that ingrains that into you, whether it's in middle school, meeting other people. You know, all of a sudden one person doesn't like you on the playground. I think now, especially with the world as it is, there's so many ways to not love yourself because there's people behind a computer screen telling you
Right.
this, or people judging you on this and this. So
Yeah.
it's
Scrolling through your
it's
news feed
yeah,
and
it's
seeing,
even-
or like Insta and seeing all these beautiful people and not recognizing
Right.
like, oh, it's probably the 57th picture that, you know, that they
Yeah.
took.
Yeah.
And we're seeing the 57th version.
Yeah.
We don't get to see the first 56 that they had to
Right.
try to get that one.
Yep.
For
yeah,
sure.
And here's the sneaky thing that'll happen is that, you know, you hear this conversation, right? And you're like, oh yeah, I want to love myself more, right? I want to experience that. And I'm not. I really do. There's something wrong with me,
Right.
right? It becomes right? Oh my gosh, here I am hating on myself again. These thoughts are going and I'm believing them. And gosh, there really is something wrong with me.
Yeah. I'm
right?
doing it again.
I'm bad at self-love.
Yeah.
And it just becomes another way to whip yourself.
Yeah, to punish yourself. Yeah.
And so the practice is, no,
Yeah.
I love you no matter what.
Right.
Even when you don't seem to be loving yourself.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And no matter where you're at, bringing compassion and acceptance to that place, even if that place seems to be a lack of compassion and self-acceptance.
Yes.
And forgive yourself if there's a day you don't love yourself. And
Exactly.
say, okay, I forgive
Yeah.
myself because tomorrow, the next day I'm going to, because you're going to go through that.
Yeah.
Ups and downs, like that's life. I mean,
Yeah.
but don't retreat right back to the way it was because you had one bad day.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Yeah.
And it's easy for a lot
Yeah.
of people to do that.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
It's a habit. It's a muscle like anything,
Yeah. And I think a way of experiencing that is like, okay, let's say I'm having a rough day. There's lots of, Matt, you're blah, 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 mean things going on inside my head about myself, right?
Yeah.
And then the thought occurs, and you can't even love yourself right now. The same thought pattern is generating the same hateful thought, right?
Yeah.
But it seems to be me. Oh, gosh, look at me. Hating myself again. Really messed up, right? And all of that mental chatter is a pretty nasty cycle of suffering, right? Within that, if I can get present to it, that is suffering.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
And if I can get present to the suffering, I can step out of that and give him a hug, right? So it's not, you should be this way, you should be that way. It's just, I'm sorry you're suffering, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so an access point to self-love can be compassion. Even in those days where everything seems horrible and we're mad at ourselves for it seeming horrible.
Yes.
Even there, right there, as if I can get present to it, I can go, oh, Matt, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I love you, right? And we can just kind of put a hug around that whole suffering person,
Mm-hmm. The
and that can be
experience
an
of that,
access
yeah.
to it, even
Yeah.
when we're having really dark days.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So that's kind of one way that one thing, I'm not saying this properly.
Mm-hmm.
So what else? That's one way that self-love shows up, I guess. What do you guys think are other ways that self-love shows up, or what does self-love look like?
Yeah.
I think. Okay, I'll go.
You go.
What do you
Start
think?
doing that. I always want to talk anyways. I should just ask questions to myself. What do you guys think of this? Oh, no answers? Okay, I'll go. All right,
My
go,
turn.
Kristin.
Well, one thing that I really enjoy doing for myself is doing the things I like to do or the things that I'm curious about. So I take classes all the time. I just took a storytelling class. I decided the next class I'm going to take is drums. I've always wanted to learn how to play the drums. And so I found like a drum kit class, like where you're actually like rock and roll kind of drums. Like, sweet. So like, I'm going to do that. Like, and I view that as something that I do for myself. Like instead of, it kind of used to be like, oh, I'll do that when I have time, or if somebody else wants to do it with me. And then I'd kind of be like bummed that I didn't do that.
Right.
And so now if I'm curious about something, or I want to take a class, or I want to experience something, I just give that gift to myself and say like, okay, go do it, like, and have fun and enjoy it and see who you meet and like whatever. So for me, that's one kind of practical thing that I do for self-love.
I love that.
I think for me, it would be something like that, or also just taking time to do something, going to see a movie. Like just giving myself the permission to take time to do something that I want to do. Like, not because again, like I would go see the movie, but I have to go to work, or I'm busy. There is always, I can make time to do even little things that will make me happy and not make the excuse to the reason why I can't do those things.
Yeah. And you are very busy.
Right, but I can
but
go see
yeah,
a movie.
Totally. And I think like it just is so like it just for me personally, it like refreshes me. Like even kind of like I was saying at the beginning of this episode, like I wasn't super bought into recording today, but then doing it, it's like refreshes me. And like same thing, like giving myself the gift of new experiences. Even like if I've got this 8-week class, there's going to be some weeks where I'm like, oh, I'm so tired from work. I don't really want to go. But I go and the experience just is so meaningful because I'm giving this gift to myself. And that's how I hold it too, is like I'm giving this to myself because I love myself and because I know I'm going to enjoy it.
Yeah, I love that. And it kind of it makes me think like in that practice that some of it is how we're being right about it.
Yeah.
So there could be well, I've had this on my list for a long time, so I'm going to go, and here I go. I'm finally doing this thing I told myself I would do. And, I'm not very good at it, but,
Totally.
You could do the same thing and have a completely different experience.
Yes.
But it's how you're being about it, right?
Yeah.
So, Kristin, here's a gift.
Yeah.
And then you go and you're like, oh, thank you, Kristin.
Yeah.
I am taking this gift and I love
totally
it, right?
am like
and
that.
so the whole experience becomes like we were talking about in our previous conversation, you're being the giver and the receiver.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it's like how you're doing it as well as the act of doing it.
Yes. Yeah.
That's so cool. Ooh, I love that. All right, what are the things like actually in your life? A movie? What are the things that you really want?
I really would like to take a comedy class. I still think I would like to do that.
Yeah.
And I think for me, health wise, I really would like to. I don't necessarily know if I want to join a gym per se, but do something where it's a spinning class or something. With the summer coming too, I could definitely be outside more too.
Yeah.
But I think that would be some of the things that I really need to give to myself. And for me, I would love to give myself take an hour and just go walk up and down the beach, and I'd be happy. That would be a good feeling to be able to just not think about anything but that moment.
Yeah.
I need to give myself that more often. I did it, but then there would be the excuse, and there are times you can't, of course. But I definitely think I have to allow myself to give that to myself more often. Those kind of little things that really recheck me.
Yeah.
All right. By when?
By next week.
What day?
Monday. By Monday, I know.
Okay,
for sure.
yeah, by Monday. And what are you gonna do?
I will take a walk. I will set my goal. I will take a walk at least a few times next week.
Cool. Sounds
definitely
great.
will do that. And I was doing that. Again, you follow. But there's no reason why I can't do something like that, because I do think, and setting maybe those type of goals in my mind. Not that not to call them goals, but maybe just trying to allow myself to give myself something every week. Something.
Yeah.
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 I love that.
At least one gift a week.
Right.
Yeah.
And how will you
too.
be? This is for you, but also like for all of us, right? So, we have this idea about self-love. I love it, about like giving ourselves experiences that we want, right? Gifts. And so there's what will we do? And we're all considering that, right?
Yes.
What are you going to do, listener?
Yes.
Okay. And then how will you be? So I'm committing to do this thing, and I'm also committing to doing it or being a certain way in it. So what do you see there?
Being happy, being at peace, being loving doing it. And I think interesting. I not until talk about today. I think I've started doing that a little bit here in my life, like going to a comedy show. Like there's certain things I've done, like where I feel like maybe because I got to a point where I really wanted to change things, even not even knowing I was doing it, I made more time to do things outside of the bar, and I've started that. So I think that's gonna be very easy for me to give that to myself, because I've already kind of started to do it in a way, So I feel good when I do that stuff. I'm glad I could be with my friends. I'm glad. So I've started it. So I definitely think it's not gonna be something that's I will allow myself and give that to myself. I definitely do, because I think I've started it.
Yeah.
In a sense.
Yeah.
Not even thinking that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've got what will you do? How will you be? Is there a third part?
Well, I think this goes along with the how you will be. Like, I think one way to look at all of this that can be fun if we allow it to is that we are all little kids walking around.
Yeah.
We are.
And it's more fun to walk around that way.
Yeah, it is if we allow it. But what most of us don't allow is the child.
Yeah.
And because it was squashed out of us at some point when we were growing up.
Yeah.
And that child just has things that it wants to do.
Yeah.
And it wants it to be okay for it to do them.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so so one way I look at like what you're talking about is that we are actually giving the child within us the things it really wants. And so a way to look at how we're being is we're giving it permission.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I just want to walk along the beach. You know, for me,
And
sometimes
it's funny
I just want to sit.
children are fearless.
Yeah.
And when you
Yeah.
go to adult, you put these barriers up to not be fearless anymore because you don't think you should be. But
Yeah.
that's a really good point. I did not think about it that way until right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you just become different. Why do you have to? But you don't have to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Okay.
Yeah, it's like we're walking around continuing the same like restrictions that were put on us when we were 3,
right.
you know?
Not
and some of those might
recognizing we have control over the
and
restrictions
we can
we
actually
put
give
on
ourselves
ourselves.
permission.
Yeah.
Like if I'm going to eat the ice cream,
Yeah, enjoy that ice
I
cream,
love
man.
to eat it
Yeah.
instead of eating it with the voice of, "Gosh, you shouldn't be."
Oh, you're gonna have to run 3 miles
and,
after this.
You know,
Yeah.
that's if I'm gonna eat it, hey, you know what? Permission.
Yeah.
I'm giving you permission to eat this and enjoy it.
Yeah.
And savor it.
Yeah, I love
You know,
that.
that's what he wants.
Yeah.
You know, and doesn't mean I'm gonna eat ice cream every day, but actually, probably, if I do that, I won't need ice cream every day.
Right.
Because I'm happy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. I love this.
Okay, so I think that we have our practice for the week.
Should we restate it?
Yeah, I
So
think so.
the practice is, so we're practicing self-love. All of
Yes.
this is about self-love,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And one way we see to practice that is kind of looking inside and just check in. Like, what do I really need or want
Mm-hmm.
that I haven't been allowing myself?
Yeah.
And then giving myself that thing
Yeah.
or that experience
Yep.
and doing it from love.
Yeah. Doing it from a place of love, doing it from a place of, I don't know that allowance is the right word,
Like permission,
but yeah, like
right?
giving yourself permission to fully enjoy that experience or whatever it is that you're giving to yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, and recognizing that it's a gift and reveling in that and being excited or whatever you want to feel about it. But yeah, I think the idea of like giving yourself permission to enjoy it is so huge.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because it's a choice you can make.
yeah,
It's hard for people to think that way, like myself included, to give yourself permission to enjoy something and be happy with it.
Yeah.
It's not always easy, but you should do it because you deserve it.
Yeah.
You know?
yep. All right, so Jason's gonna take a few walks next week.
Yeah.
Yes, I am.
What's Matt gonna do?
Oh.
Or are you still checking
no,
in on
I
what
think
you want?
what came up to me while you guys were talking is for a while now, this is weird, but there's just been this kind of background like, I want to take a boxing class.
Oh, nice.
Just not even a class. I'll just go to a gym
Yeah.
and do a session of boxing for an hour. And there's one like right up the block for me.
Yeah.
And it's probably just because like this little dude has a bunch of anger. he
Right?
wants to let out.
I wasn't gonna say it.
No, I'm
I
sure
was
that's
so
it.
right
He's
there
just
with
like,
you.
I need a punching bag. And I've been like, oh, that feels scary. I don't know why it feels scary to me. Like
Yeah.
gym classes in general kind of scare me. So that's been on there for a while. So my declaration is by Monday, a boxing class
Nice.
with permission to enjoy it or just let out all the
Get
anger
on
I
the-
want to let out.
Yeah. Nice.
Thanks.
I think I'm gonna give myself the gift of a massage this week. It's so I've been like telling myself I don't have time to fit it in, but it's been like on my mind as like something I would really enjoy lately. So I think that's what I'm gonna do.
Cool. And
Yeah.
how will we be?
I will be relaxed and grateful
Yeah.
for my masseuse's hands.
Yeah.
I will be happy and at peace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I might be really angry. I don't know. But the thing is that there's just whatever the thing is.
Yeah.
The like, oh, I saw that you really wanted this. And so I'm going to let you have it.
Yeah.
That practice is so great.
Yeah, so powerful. All right. So that is another episode of Cultivating Courage.
Oh, wait. I'll go. Oh, wait. While we got you here,
Yeah.
you get a chance to share you had an amazing life, all kinds of great wisdom you've accumulated. What would you like to share with the listeners about that might help their life?
Wow. I would. What I would say is, don't be afraid to take a chance on something you dream about. I mean, when we opened the bar, it was not something that was going to be easy. It was not easy to do. It took a lot of courage to do it. But if I truly believe, and I know it may sound cliche to some people, but I believe if you really want something, you should go for it, because I'm very complete, and it was not easy, but I would not change anything, and I'm very happy. So if you have something, whatever it is, I think you should go for it and try, because you never know what's going to happen.
That's
That
awesome.
would be my little.
That is awesome.
That's super awesome. And where can people connect with you online?
You can go to Shakers on Jason.
Oh, no, well, so our listeners
sorry.
know who I'm talking to.
All right. You can go to Shakers on Clark. We have a Facebook page. Please like us on Facebook. We're also on Instagram and Twitter. So you can find us under Shakers on Clark on all those places.
Awesome.
And come by, 3160 North Clark.
Whoop, whoop.
Yeah.
As you know, I'm Kristin Robinson. You can find me on Instagram at RobinsonKristin, Kristin. You can also go to thrivecoachingstudio.com. Matt, where can people find you?
I'm Matt Maxwell. You can find me on Instagram, Matty Maxwell. Follow me. I post awesome pictures like at least every other month.
He's got 5 pictures on his Instagram that he's
like
had.
30, okay?
My bad. You can find us at cultivatingcouragepodcast.com. We'd love to hear from you guys, so feel free to shoot us an email from the website or leave a comment on YouTube. And I think that's a wrap.